Hi guys, I'm just calling you this morning. It is 7:45 on Tuesday morning. I've just got to my lovely job as a mental health counsellor work, so I'm just in the car, and I just wanted to talk to you just a little bit about trauma and how trauma can affect us in our everyday lives. So trauma, as a mother, there seems to be, and what I've noticed with a lot of mums is that there's a lot of trauma related to pregnancy, to birth, and to the first year of having a baby. And I myself experienced it as well. Luckily it wasn't the birth that I experienced trauma, but it was after birth. My little boy, my first, so not only was I adjusting to being a mum, my son had reflux, and he screamed in pain after every milk feed, and he would wake up every hour at night for the first 6 months, and it took me 6 months to get him medicated properly and on the right formula. So for those 6 months, to me it was so traumatic, and listening to my little baby scream in pain and not being able to do anything about it, and I felt like I was feeding him poison. Every time I'd feed him, I wouldn't leave the house because he was in so much pain, and I didn't want to be out in the house with a screaming baby, because everyone stares at you and wonders why you're not doing anything about it. And I had a lot of trauma around that, and it took me a few years to accept and understand it and to heal it as well. But there's a lot of women that I've noticed that have a lot of trauma around the actual birth of their children, and also trauma during pregnancy. There's a lot of women who do really struggle and have a lot of pain during pregnancy as well, that there's trauma around. So carrying this just trauma around in our lives, and it affects us every day. Now, you may not think about the trauma every day, but it definitely affects your body. It definitely affects your mind. Any stress or anxiety that you feel today, it all can be stemmed back to trauma that we've experienced. Not all the time, but a lot of the time, trauma is in our body, and unconsciously it affects everything that we do. So with Reiki, what I discovered with Reiki was that I actually healed this trauma that I was carrying through Reiki. Now, how you do that is really simple. So I talk about this a lot, the 5-minute self-healing that I do every day, just before bed, or when I'm lying in bed just about to go to sleep, and I focus that healing on that trauma. So I will think about that trauma, and I ask for the Reiki healing to go to that traumatizing event and to heal that trauma. And eventually, it wasn't overnight, but eventually, given a week or two doing that, when I thought about the event or thought about that time when I had trauma, the feeling of panic or stress or anxiety wasn't there anymore, and that's because it had healed. If you think back to an event that you feel you may have trauma, and you feel that panic or anxiety, or the feelings come up that are really negative feelings around that event, then you've got trauma, and that would mean that you would it's really good to try and focus on healing that. And energetic healing is the most amazing way to heal. There are other ways, through counseling and such, but for me, I found the energetic healing something that you can do yourself. It's really cheap with my course. As soon as you've done my course, you can do it on yourself. You're attuned to Reiki, and it's really cheap, and you've got it for life. But you can go to a counsellor, you can try other things, but ultimately they're more expensive and they take more time. So that's why I promote, and I love how Reiki can heal in this beautiful way. So the way that we would do heal the trauma in Reiki is, firstly, we would do the 5-minute self-healing technique every night, and we focus on that particular event. Secondly, what you can do is you can actually send energy to that event through beaming Reiki, and that's what you learn during Reiki level 2. Now what you can do is you can draw all 3 symbols, the power symbol, the mental emotional symbol, and the distance symbol, into your palm of your hands, and then you would see the event in front of you, the time, the date, and what actually happened during that event, and you can actually send and beam a Reiki energy to that event and heal it from that angle, as well as do it emotion on your own self-healing technique as well. So I highly recommend doing that. And if you want to contact me to talk to me about any of this sort of stuff, please do. I am available on my email, and if you click on the link below, you can get my email address at the bottom of the page. So please, I'm really interested, or even comment on this on YouTube, because I'm really interested to hear what other people have to say about the trauma that they've experienced during the early years of motherhood, and even, you know, the later lives of motherhood. You know, I mean, unfortunately, as a mum, we do seem to experience a lot of trauma, and it's really good to focus on trying to heal that. So thank you for today, and I will see you soon.